Excuse me?
Yes?
I'm here to pick up some components. This is the spell component repository, right? It's so easy to get lost in this place.
You have a slip?
Yep, right here.
Your forgery skills are impressive, kid. Who taught you?
I'm not a kid, I'm 19. And wait, forgery, I would never.
Sure. These components are off limits to first, second, and third years. Fourth years can request them if they're accompanied by a professor. Otherwise, they can only be procured by a professor or a professor's assistant.
I am a professor's assistant.
Yeah, I saw that on the paper. Listen, I know you're probably not used to the way things work around here, but next time try to pick a better cover than professor's assistant. And then pick a more believable professor to work under than Hogwin.
What's so unbelievable about working for Professor Hogwin?
Seriously? Have you been living under a rock?
I mean, my town is kind of small, and all the books I read to get here were pretty old. I didn't really know anything about the Arcane Athenaeum before I applied, just that it's supposed to be one of the best places to learn about magic.
It's the best of the best. Every single professor here is a high-level archmage, and Theodos Hogwin is the strongest of them all.
Really? But he's so big and soft and cuddly looking.
What? How dare you? Hogwin is a legend. It is offensive that you would even dare to claim that you worked under him. He has infamously high standards for his assistants, to the point where he hasn't accepted a single one for years. I should know. I've applied 6 times.
Well, that can't be true. He seemed pretty eager when he asked me to take the position yesterday, and he had only met me once.
When he asked. Oh, you are funny, kid. But you're wasting my time. You run along now.
I'm not leaving without those components.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not. It's my first day as Hogwin's assistant, and I'm not going to mess it up.
If you don't go away, I'm going to have to call...
Is there an issue here?
Professor Hogwin. Sir. I'm so sorry. This young girl is pretending to be your assistant to gain access to high-level spell components. This is a terrible besmirchment of your name. I will make sure it is dealt with promptly and...
This young woman isn't pretending to be anything. It seems news travels slowly. I sent a missive last night notifying every department in the Athenaeum that the position had been filled. Ari Leverett will be my assistant for the foreseeable future, and she is to be spoken to with the same respect you would pay to me.
Her, sir?
Forgive me for teaching you a lesson outside of class hours, young man, but you would be wise not to judge a book by its cover. The greatest treasures often hide in the most unassuming containers.
Yes, sir.
I actually came here because I realized I forgot to put an item on that list. Would you be so kind as to acquire me 100 grams of ruby dust on top of the items on that slip?
Yes, sir. Right away, sir.
I apologize for that, Miss Ari. I should have accompanied you on your first errand to make sure the message had been received.
Is being your assistant really such a coveted job?
To those who cannot let go of the Hogwin of the past, it very much is. I have had few assistants that didn't treat me as some sort of monument to be revered, so I prefer to work alone more often than not these days.
That guy said you're a powerful archmage. Like, the most powerful.
Power is a funny thing, Ari. Those who have it often do not deserve it, and those who deserve it often do not have it. As soon as I realized that, I became a teacher.
Did you do something bad?
I should hope not. I put an end to many conflicts in my time, to the point where I was given the title Peacebringer. But over time, I came to realize that knowledge and wisdom were a far better path forward than an iron fist.
So, if you never take anyone on as your assistant anymore, what made you ask me? I mean, you hardly know me and I didn't even apply.
Do you remember the particularly difficult question on that exam you took yesterday?
The one about planets and ley lines that I wasn't supposed to solve?
It isn't that you weren't supposed to solve it, Ari. It's that nobody, save for myself and a handful of other archmages, has ever been able to. It took me hours to solve it when I first took a crack at it. It took you a matter of minutes. Oh, you could have shown a bit more of your work.
I keep track of the math in my head. My brain moves faster than my hands can keep up with.
Your intellect is a force to be reckoned with, Ari. And from the sounds of it, you have no clue just how special you are. Perhaps this is a bit premature for me to say, but I believe that in time, you could become one of the greatest wizards of our or any other age.
What? No, that's crazy. Professor Hogwin, I appreciate your faith in me truly, but you really think way too highly of me. I've never formally studied any of this stuff. All of my classmates come from fancy magic academies that cost a fortune to get into, and all I did to get here was read a bunch of my great-grandfather's dusty old books and write an essay. I'd never even cast my first spell until a few years ago.
Tell me, what is the most powerful spell you can cast?
Well, a lot of them sound really scary, so I've never tried them. But I do cast teleport sometimes. I made a circle in my room back home so I can visit my parents on the weekends.
Ari.
Yeah?
That would put you in the 99th percentile of spellcasters on the planet.
Huh?
If casting teleport was something your average wizard could do, we'd have little use for horses and hansom cabs.
I'm in the what?
You really had no idea how powerful that spell was. Oh no, I think I broke her.
I'm in the 99th percentile?
This should be everything you requested, sir.
Thank you, young man. Come now, Ari. Let's go see just how little you know about your own ability.
Remind me again of the stakes.
I believe I've repeated the agreement 5? Belligor, how many times have I repeated it?
I'm making a point not to listen when you speak.
Let's say 5, then.
Say it again. You like to sneak tricks and loopholes into your promises, and I want to make sure you didn't devise some way to wriggle free if I win.
Oh, little old me, playing tricks. I'm an honest god, Aquira.
You're the God of Trickery.
And as everyone knows, the God of Trickery is bound by his promises.
Which is why I'm making sure this one is airtight.
If I win, you have to awaken the Kraken off the coast of Amoris for at least a day. If you win, I'll get my champion to steal the Trident of Waves back from the Yuan-Ti for you.
And you will deliver it safely to my hands?
And I will deliver it safely to your hands. I swear by the terms of this agreement.
Dryas, can you find any holes?
None that jump out at me. I think he's just overly confident in his skill at cards.
Overly? I'm the king of cards. There's a reason the standard deck comes with a depiction of yours truly.
I'm the Joker.
Oh, you're just jealous because you're on the Jack. Always living in the shadow of someone greater.
Find a more susceptible target for your petty remarks, Guile.
Oh, don't pretend you're not a big softy beneath all that armor. Oh, yet another spectator for the most brutal smackdown in history of cards.
Oh, Mortaine, you're here.
Am I not welcome?
Oh, of course you are. My garden is open to all who wish to visit. It's just that you don't normally attend.
I do sometimes sense that my presence brings about a sort of unease.
No, Mortaine, you're great at parties. That's why you're invited to so many of them.
I have never been invited to a party. Do you all have parties?
I'll be sure to invite you to the next one.
We have a world to govern. None of you should have time to be throwing parties. Mortaine is the only judicious one among you.
And that's why no one invites you either. Both of you take God far too seriously. Check. by the way.
This isn't chess.
What were we speaking about before Aquira made me repeat myself for the 6th time?
Our champions.
Right. Mortaine, did you know that Aquira's champion just earned the title Queen of the Pirates?
She even has an army of sirens that follow her ship. Scourge of the Sea, they call her.
My champion just goes around pulling the occasional heist, and then sitting around doing nothing when she can't be bothered. She's a paragon of selfishness, apathy, and hedonism. Utterly deplorable.
She sounds exactly like you.
I know. I couldn't be more proud. And what about your champion, Mortaine? How is he doing these days?
He remains anonymous and safely beyond your reach. As always.
Ah, so it is a he.
You.
Don't let him get you riled up, Mortaine. For all you know, he may have already discovered your champion's identity and is just trying to get under your skin.
Unfortunately, Mortaine's champion is the only one I've so far been unable to identify. The bastard is so well hidden. Mortaine is almost as sneaky as me, you know? Have you heard what the mortals call her? The Lady of Secrets. It's my favourite of her epithets.
The identity of my champion is none of your concern.
It is. When poking you about it gets such a reaction, you really make it far too easy. Ah, Yahtzee.
What even is that?
I've endured enough of this foolishness for today. Mortaine, would you care for a stroll through the garden?
Very well.
If you're taking a walk, take that footpath over there. I've come up with some new flowers that I'd like your opinions on.
Yes, what better judges of delicate beauty than the gods of death and war?
I will return shortly.
Oh, good. Dryas, could you be a dear and get me some more tea? I'm absolutely parched.
Dear gods, Guile, we don't get thirsty.
Speak for yourself.
Judge spoke to you?
He did.
He was wise to confide in you. Between him and myself, we would be spread too thin, and none of the others can be relied upon. And not only because they might be the traitor.
I am honored by the faith you have both placed in me.
I still can't believe that he would plot to kill another god after all this time. Does he not remember the fallout of the first incident, or the lengths we went to make proper gods out of the mortals who took their places? It's ludicrous.
You speak as if you're already sure of the culprit.
Come now, Mortaine. The others may not take their station seriously enough, but Guile? Only he has the feckless audacity to pull a stunt like this. I swear, that man feels no fear, no empathy, no loyalty.
I agree, but Judge warned us not to discount the others. Guile would make an easy scapegoat for someone else with enough ambition.
This is true. It is a pity that we must suspect our own like this after 2,000 years of order under Judge's laws. We already have our hands full with... Speaking of which, any more progress on that front?
None.
If you aren't having any luck, then it's likely none of us will. Keep looking. I must go attend to some business on Iathus. Will you take over watching Guile in my place?
For a time, yes.
I won't be more than a day, as per the laws. Stay vigilant, Mortaine.
Always.
Wait, I won.
No, that can't be. Well, fuck. How did that happen?
I won!
Congratulations.
Let me recount the cards. There must have been some mistake.
No, Guile, I won fair and square. You made a promise.
But...
You are bound by your promises, God of Trickery.
Fine. I'll get my champion to steal your stupid trident back from those stupid snakes.
Ha! Finally! Do you know how long I've been trying to get that thing back? The Yuan-Ti have had it for decades.
Yes, and it was far too risky to send your champion after it, but mine is expendable.
You're the one who came up with the terms. Don't complain now. Besides, you said she pulls heists all the time. This should be no different.
Yes, whatever. I'll go tell her the news.
It's nice to see someone finally getting one over on him for a change.
isn't it?
Aquira.
Did you see the look on his face when he lost? Oh, it was so satisfying.
Aquira.
What else do you think I can get him to bet on a game of cards? Perhaps to agree never to pull a prank on me again. What a relief that would be.
Aquira.
What? Mortaine! Wait. Where's my necklace? Have either of you seen my necklace?
He slipped it off your neck while you were celebrating.
No. He lost on purpose?
The fact that you ever thought you could beat Guile in a game of cards is laughable.
Ugh, Guile! I have to get it back. That necklace held the gem of tides. If it falls into the wrong hands, it could ruin everything.
You'll have to find him first, which is a task in and of itself.
I think I might know where he went.
You have to get it back for me, Mortaine, please. I swear, I'll invite you to all of my parties from now on.
I'll do my best. But don't bother about the parties. I couldn't care less. That was a cheap trick.
Cheap tricks are the only ones worth pulling, Mortaine. If I had to spend anything to pull them, then they wouldn't be at the other person's expense, now would they? Anyway, how did you know where to find me?
I just asked myself what you might do with that necklace that would cause the most chaos. Aquira's champion has a rival to becoming ruler of the seas. That necklace would give him the edge he needs to usurp her. Or at least, to cause her some serious grief.
Oh, Mortaine. I'm impressed. You're thinking like a true trickster.
Where's the necklace, Guile?
It's on that ship over there, already in his hands. To be fair, the man's name is Captain Bloodbeard. How am I supposed to not root for a guy named Bloodbeard?
Exerting influence on the mortal world is forbidden. You know that.
Wrong! Exerting direct influence is forbidden. Granting aid to a mortal in the form of a boon is perfectly acceptable according to judges' laws.
Aquira won't be happy with you.
The best part about being me is that no one is ever happy with me, so I never have anyone to impress. Besides, she'll get over it. My champion really is retrieving the trident from the Yuan-Ti, which Aquira will give to her champion, granting her the power to take down Bloodbeard, and all will be well. Not only will she have her precious trident back, but the Gem of Tides too. Something you lot never appreciate is that I never pull a trick without making up for it. Oftentimes I even give back more than I take. I should be called the God of Gifts.
Gifts with a catch.
The best kind of gift. By the way, what happened to your voice thingy? I like your voice thingy.
We are among mortals. I am trying to be discreet.
Nothing about you is discreet, Mortaine. There's a sort of gravity about you that frightens the others. Your connection to fate unnerves them. They don't like that you can see where things are headed while they cannot.
I know less than they imagine. I merely ensure that things happen the way they are supposed to, and I'm granted only the foresight necessary to do so. By design, none of that foresight extends to the fate of the gods or their champions.
Do you ever wonder whose design that is? If it isn't yours or judges, there must be some power even greater than us orchestrating it all. Wasn't there?
You sound like...
I can't believe you, of all people, just made that comparison. I'm touched.
Make no mistake, you are nothing alike.
It's too late. I've already taken it as a compliment. So, when are you and Belzy going to stop trying to spy on me?
I don't know what you mean.
Oh, please, Mortaine. Like I said, nothing about you is discreet. And Belligor is even less so. I mean, come on. The god of war attending a tea party, being within earshot of me for more than 5 minutes. That man can't stand me. If he had his way, he would never have to lay eyes upon this glorious visage ever again.
I'm not spying on you.
Right. And I'm sure you don't suspect me of stealing the god killer either.
You know.
I have eyes and ears everywhere, Mortaine. Even in the Shadowfell. Judge thought he hid the weapon so well, but it was the only place that made sense. He wasn't about to entrust it to either of the Fairy Queens. Sable, at least, has integrity, which is what I hate about him.
So you've known where it was all this time. You aren't helping your case.
I don't expect you to believe I didn't take it. It does sound like something I would do.
You're the prime suspect, Guile. None of the others would be so brazenly treacherous.
Really now? To be honest, I don't think I'm the one Judge and Belligor should have reason to be suspicious of.
And who should they suspect?
Oh, the Lady of Secrets.
Me.
What's in the Manglewood, Mortaine?
Oh well.
Why?
Many gods grant monuments of their power to the mortals.
Yes, the others all have a bad habit of imbuing trinkets and structures with their magic to show off to the mortals. That's why it's so easy to toy with someone like Aquira with her tridents and her necklaces, but you've never been one to give up any modicum of your power that you didn't need to, especially not power over fate. That is, until 100 years ago. All of a sudden, rumors began to spread about a wishing well in the Manglewood fed by your magic that can grant anyone a single fate-altering wish. An alluring prospect for a mortal. None of the others batted an eye, but they don't know you like I do. It's almost as if you want people to go into those woods, just not too many. But why? That's what I've yet to figure out. What could you possibly be hiding in there? Lately I've been thinking I might take a peek myself.
Why haven't you?
Because, Mortaine, I enjoy a good mystery. Sometimes it's fun to let you keep your secrets and think you're getting away with something.
If you step foot into those woods, Guile, there is not a force in this universe that could protect you from me.
A threat? Ooh, it must be a juicy secret then. Oh, now my curiosity is piqued. But I promise I won't go poking around your little forest. On one condition.
Another trick.
No trick, just plain blackmail.
What do you want?
Direct Judge and Belligor's suspicion away from me. I'm tired of being watched all the time. It's keeping me from getting up to no good. Asking me to sit still and behave is like asking you not to guide souls to the afterlife. Mischief is what I do.
If you're so innocent, you shouldn't need my help to avoid their scrutiny.
Again, I'm not asking you to believe that I'm innocent. I'm just asking you to make them believe I'm innocent. Nothing I do or say will convince them. But you have their trust. Just pick another god as a scapegoat, perhaps one of the new ones. The others never have fully trusted the younger gods. Do we have a deal?
I need time to think.
I'll give you a day, but as soon as 24 hours are up, I'm waltzing right into the Manglewood to see what dirty little secrets you're hiding. Choose wisely, Mortaine.
Oh, hey Mortaine. Is something wrong? You look worried.
It's nothing. How are the bees faring?
You should see the amount of honey that just came out of this hive. And I'm not even through last year's yield. I'm gonna have to make 2 whole barrels of mead just to get through it all.
You seem to be in a good mood.
Oh, it's just one of those days. It's sunny, the birds are singing, the garden is in bloom. There had to be one good day to make up for how shitty I felt all last month, right?
I'm glad.
Here, let's go inside. I'll make us some tea.
That sounds nice. Have you had any visitors recently?
Only one since I last saw you. A moonlit elf named Alos.
The sorcerer. I know of him.
You do?
When someone lives so long and participates in so many historic events, they tend to stick out a bit. But you haven't noticed anything strange lately. Nothing out of the ordinary.
Well, I have this dream sometimes.
A dream?
I've actually been having it ever since we struck our deal. It only happens once every few years, but it's always the same. I'm just standing alone in this vast, empty expanse, and I hear the voice of a woman singing to me from afar. The song she sings, I swear I've heard it before. Her voice sounds familiar too, but I'm certain she's never been to the tavern. Usually I just sit and listen. Sometimes I talk to her, even though she never talks back. But last month I had the dream again, and for some reason, this time I decided to try singing along with her. When I did, she stopped singing and said my name.
I'm sure it was only a dream.
It didn't feel like one. It felt more real, like a vision or a memory. Why haven't you been around recently? It's unlike you to go so long without paying a visit.
I'm sorry. Things have been complicated in Celestia. The restrictions on my freedom to visit Iathus have tightened as a consequence.
Should I ask, or is this more secret god business?
You should not ask.
All right. Just be safe, okay?
I am a goddess, Wren. I appreciate your concern for my well-being, but it isn't necessary.
If that were true, there never would have been an Ascension War. You're too important to me to die and let some random mortal take your place, you hear? Just be careful.
Thank you.
For what?
For being a better friend than I deserve.
Well, I have to repay the favor somehow.
You already do more than enough.
Maybe. But I still feel bad for lashing out at you last month. You didn't deserve that. I know I seem ungrateful at times, especially when I'm spiraling, but I really do appreciate everything you've done for me. And I don't just mean the immortality and all that. It's the little things, like bringing me wine and sitting with me when I'm having a rough day. You pick me up when I'm struggling.
You do the same for me. More than you know.
Well, I'm glad I can be of some service. Here, it's hibiscus.
I've been meaning to ask you for a while now. What is it with you and hibiscus? It seems like half of everything you make is made with those flowers.
You know, I have no idea. They just feel special to me. When I see or taste hibiscus, I just feel this warmth in my chest. I'm quite fond of it.
I see. Unfortunately, I can't stay to enjoy this. There's something I have to do.
You're leaving already? You only just got here.
I know, I'm sorry. My visits may be more sparse for a while now. But I will do everything in my power to get away when I can.
Something must be seriously wrong if Judge has you on this tight of a curfew.
Everything will be fine. It's nothing you need to worry about. You're safe here.
If you say so. But make sure you stay safe too, Mortaine.
I will. Judge, can we speak?
Mortaine, come in. Any developments?
Nothing concrete. Only some thoughts.
I'm all ears.
Belligor and I have both been watching Guile intently since you informed us of the traitor. Neither of us have noticed anything out of the ordinary. Just his usual tricks and meddling.
Do you think he's noticed you've been watching him?
No, he has no clue.
Well, he could be simply biding his time, waiting for some kind of opportunity. Keep watching.
I'm worried we are being played for fools, Judge.
How so?
Is Guile not too easy of a conclusion to make? Surely he knows that if the God-Killer went missing, suspicion would immediately fall on him. As much as I hate to give him credit, he's far more cunning than that. But the other gods know that he would be the first suspect as well. A perfect scapegoat to avert our attention while they scheme behind our backs. I am worried that we're falling into an obvious trap.
Or perhaps that is exactly the conclusion that Guile is waiting for us to come to. His mind games possess layers upon layers.
Perhaps. Or we could be missing the forest for the trees. Excluding ourselves and Belligor, there are 5 other gods in Celestia who are only soaking up a small portion of our attention. 2 of whom stand out against the rest.
Amor and Exel.
Both have been around only half as long as the rest of us. And they were mortal once. Perhaps more susceptible to mortal ambition. It was ambition that earned them their spots in Celestia to begin with. One does not lead an army to war with angels without grand designs.
You make a valid point. But as I said before, I don't believe that Exel could be the culprit. It was his predecessor who forged the God-Killer in the fires of the sun itself, and he could hypothetically do so again, giving him no reason to steal it from the Shadowfell.
Unless he didn't know how the first Exel did it. You and I came into existence with an instinct for godhood. The new Amor and Exel had to learn from scratch, and we both remember their painful learning curves. I wouldn't be surprised if there are still gaps in their knowledge. Perhaps Exel needs the existing weapon as a blueprint in order to recreate it.
More God-Killers? Why would he want to create more?
Perhaps he has allies that he wishes to arm. An all-out war between the gods. One side with weapons that can kill us, the other side all but helpless.
I hadn't even considered that. I knew that Exel was a necessary danger, but to think that he could divide us completely...
You know how Exel feels about Guile. If he does have allies, I doubt the God of Trickery is among them. If anything, Guile is too intoxicated by his power to allow a blade capable of killing him to float around in the hands of the very gods he's made a hobby of antagonizing.
You're right. We've been too focused on Guile. Exel is just as likely a suspect, if not more so. And one of the other gods may even be counting on us suspecting him as another distraction. We must spread our attention more evenly among the others. Maybe with an extra eye out for Exel. I will contact Belligor, and I will question Sable again to make doubly certain that no one in his chain of command saw anything the day it was stolen.
I think that would be wise.
I was right to trust you, Mortaine. Your wisdom and loyalty have proven reliable time and time again throughout my rule. Together, we will prevent another calamity. I'm sure of it.
I am forever your servant, Judge.
And that's the story of how I bedded the Queen of the Unseelie Court and escaped without a scratch. Mostly.
You either pulled that story from a book of fairy tales or straight out your ass.
It's true. I swear it.
You expect us to believe you seduced one of the fairy queens, as powerful as the gods themselves, made her fall in love with you, then just disappeared without any consequences? I've met plenty of folks with a screw loose in this shithole of a bar, but you might just take the cake.
Would you like to place a wager on it?
How were we supposed to gamble on a story? I thought we were here to play dice.
We'll get to the dice in a moment. I notice you have a spellbook with you. Are you a practitioner of the arcane?
I dabble.
Well, then I'm sure you'll know what this is.
A spell scroll?
Zone of Truth. I'll let you cast it yourself, and I will give in to its influence. Then you can ask me again if the story is true. How much would you like to wager?
The scroll does seem authentic.
There is no way in any of the hells that you slept with the Queen of Twilight. If you're telling the truth, you know what? I'll give you all the gold in my card purse. How about that?
I'll wager the same. And you have to match the combined amount if you're lying.
Gentlemen, you have a deal.
I've been searching everywhere, and this is where I find you.
I left you plenty of clues, darling.
Darling.
Friends, this is Gertrude, my wife. She has very little patience for my gambling addiction.
I am most certainly not your wife.
How many times do I have to tell you, Gertrude? I'm not signing the divorce papers.
Your wife? Oh, well, why don't we ask her? Gertrude, did your husband sleep with the Queen of Twilight? Be honest now.
He is not my husband, but yes, he did. And it was a mess.
It's why she wants a divorce.
We need to talk. Get up.
Honey, I'm terribly busy at the moment. Could this wait until I'm done robbing these fine fellows of all the gold they possess?
Now.
Fine. You're lucky my wife showed up when she did. Gentlemen, your finances have been spared. For now.
Is this really what you do in your spare time? Con unsuspecting mortals out of gold you don't need.
It's a little something called having fun. Mortaine, you should try it sometime.
Don't use my name so flippantly out in the open.
Oh, don't worry. I've already cast a glamour on us. All they see is a haggard old crone squabbling with an unusually attractive silver fox of a husband.
Of course.
So, have you put some thought into what we spoke about earlier?
Yes. I've already planted the seeds with Judge. His attention is shifting from you towards Exel, and he is instructing Belligor to do the same.
Oh, wonderful!
I will continue to avert their attention from you, so long as you swear never to enter the Manglewood.
I, Guile, God of Trickery, hereby promise not to enter the Manglewood so as long as you keep Judge and Belligor's attention away from my dealings.
Thank you.
I worry I might come to regret this deal. I've almost never seen you like this.
What do you mean?
Have you noticed that I hardly ever play tricks on you like I do to the others?
It has crossed my mind from time to time.
Do you ever wonder why?
I assumed you were simply unnerved by me, the same as the rest.
Oh, quite the contrary, Mortaine. I am drawn to you like a mathematician to a complex equation. You somehow manage to bore me and fascinate me at the exact same time, but the reason I never pulled tricks on you, goddess of death, is that you don't seem to hold anything dear. The other gods have so many buttons to push, yet you stand apart from them. The picture of austerity. I have never been able to devise a trick to pull on you that could elicit a satisfying reaction, but here, it seems I finally found one of your buttons in the Manglewood, and the only reason I'm not pushing it is because it serves me in this moment not to. I've never been so curious in my life. I suppose if I just asked what you're hiding there, you wouldn't tell me, would you?
No.
It was worth a shot. But if there's one thing I know, Mortaine, it's that secrets cannot be kept forever. Especially not from us. If not me, then another god will get curious and go sticking their nose where you don't want it.
I have time before that happens.
And what are you hoping will occur before that time?
Our deal is struck. I have no business with you anymore.
Oh, right. You're no fun. I'm going to stick around here for a while. I've heard that there's a restaurant in this town that just invented something called pasta, and people are going crazy for it, so...
Guile.
Yes, my dear.
Do you promise that you aren't the one who stole the God Killer?
My promises are binding, Mortaine. They're far too precious to be given out so easily. Toodles.
He's the poor man's guy, with a wicked grin. There's an ace up his sleeve and he's playing to win. He's the devious patron of sin. Ain't no lie like the truth when he twists it. Ain't no life like the life he mystic. Equal in measure of pleasure and pain. You know his name. Say your prayers, you know the place. Fair the world's a stage for cunning guile. Joyous misery, delightful trickery's the game for cunning guile.
like to listen to the full song inspired by this episode, you can find it by searching Poor Man's God by Chase Noseworthy, wherever you get your music. If you'd like to support the show, as well as get episodes early as soon as they're finished, you can support us at patreon.com/thebardic Hearth. Anything you can give means the world. Aquira was played by Ginny D. Guile was played by Troy Allan. Belligor was played by Ryan Brophy. Dryas was played by Lilli Furfaro. Mortaine was played by Rochelle Ibarra. Wren and Gambler 2 were played by Chase Noseworthy. Judge was played by Jesse Jerdak. Gambler 1 was played by Cole Taylor Finney.